Okay, lesson 3, we're going to be still looking at area and some different ways to find area. All right. We're going to be talking about decomposing and rearranging shapes to get us through. Okay, so today's goal, our I can statement is I can use different reasoning strategies to find the area of shapes. So while you're getting that on the top of your page, today's date and page number, writing down that I can statement. So we're going to be looking at different ways we could look at things instead of just counting things out. Okay? All right. If we look at these two shapes, which one of these would we say is larger? Well, kind of a couple ways we can look at this, right? Or actually, are they greater than, less than, or equal to, I guess is a better way to say what we're talking about here. Yeah, so if you look, they seem to have the same general outside to their shape, but there's one difference here where we've got this piece popped out here as opposed to being shaded in here. And since this piece should fit directly back in here, actually it looks like that these would both be the same, right? And that would just take a little bit of reasoning of moving and verifying that it's the same space as what is cut out here. Let's take a look at these four. If I look up at A, we can see that we can see a couple different things. Let's see if my pen will work. All right. So if I cut this shape off here, I can see that I have, oops, try that again. I can see that I have a space up here. It looks like 2 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 2 rows of 6 would give me 12 for that piece of area. And then I've got 3 by 4, so I got 12. So I've got two 12s here, gives me 24 units, right? And doing B would be similar as far as figuring out the chunks. I would just go through and find the pieces. I could sit here and count every single piece, and I can do that here with A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. And I can easily find the total area that way. But if I, knowing my facts, I can go through and find it in a different way. B is kind of the same thing. I kind of have to just break it up into chunks and figure out how many are there. What about C and D? They're not quite as straightforward, are they? How could I figure these out? Think back to what we did the other day. If you said something like the fact that we know that if we think back to that lesson before where we could take and make a particular shape using smaller triangles and then make it into square units, we can do the same thing here. If I take this piece here, and if I take this piece here, well, this is a square, isn't it? So that means that this is a square, and that distance here is exactly the same, then this has to be the same, and that these triangles can all fold together. So I could actually take and put this triangle on top of that one. So if I take and turn it, I've actually put that space here, and now I can find out how much space is there. And I've got 2 columns, and I've got, 4 in each, so that's 8. And then the same thing here. If I take this and move it down here, where it matches up with this other one, actually, let's do it over here on this one. So if I come down, and so I've taken this and moved it up here. Same thing again, right? So I've got 8, and 8 means that this is 16 square units. Now, I don't know the exact size of each of those pieces, but because I know those triangles fit together, I can see the square units that way. Will that same kind of thing work over here? Yeah. We're just going to look for equal triangles that we can take off. So there's one right angle triangle. There's another right angle triangle. Another one. Sorry, my thing to draw with is not working nearly as well as it should be. Okay, and so I've got 4 here. So if I take and I put one of these over with this other one, and again, it should have a height of 2 and a length of 4, just like it does back over here. So now I've got 8, and then if I do the same thing with this here, this is going to make 8 as well, right? So there's 8 and 8, 16, but then this is filled in the middle, and I can just count those, or I can see that I got 2 groups of 2, so 4. So this makes actually 20, doesn't it? So when we're going through and doing these, we can just look at the pieces that we've got and how they can rearrange to give us something that we can just use easily. Okay? So big things that we did here is we used strategies to find areas of figures that are similar and that are not alike, and how they look. And we also use strategies to find different ways to move things around, rotate pieces around to create square units that we could see much more easily. Now, the thing that you got to remember though is I couldn't just move anything anywhere I wanted, because I knew that a square has equal sides, and the fact that this length and this width, those distances are the same on these triangles, and that they're right triangles, I can easily match them up to get the units for each of these and to find those spaces. Okay? All right, so if you've got everything down, you're all set.